Hello friends, Uncle Roddus here with a update on some new arrivals. Finally, it's been quite some time. It's 10th of July 2024, so a couple of months, maybe even since my last video. So the records I've been very circumspect this year, buying records, trying to save some money, but unfortunately work has been very slow this year. We're in quite a recession in this country actually. There's a lot of people getting laid off, a lot of people without much work on. I'm lucky, I'm just on my own. We don't have any children, we don't have a mortgage anymore, so we're actually pretty sweet, so we can ride these things out pretty easily, but not helping my savings much. But things are picking up, and things have picked up, and I picked up some records, and then I got a nice fat tax return because work's been slow over the last 12 months. I got actually quite a good tax return, which actually allowed me to start putting some money away and buying some records. So I've actually got quite a good pile here. So I picked up some sale records off a site up north. I also got 4 records coming in the post which aren't here yet, but they were freebies because I got a whole lot of points flying out, etc. So I went up and had a look at Vinyl Countdown up in New Plymouth on their website, because I had bought from them before, and they have some really good sales, and I picked up some really cheap records, like $30 to $40 records, brand new records off them. So I picked them up for $30, $35, and just over $40. I got 5 of them. They came today. The one that I'm playing in the background is this one, which is quite new to me. So yeah, I got it on special, but it's really worth buying if you can find it. It's a Christchurch duo. I believe they're partners or married, because it says on their Bandcamp blurb that they're partners and they have some children, and they're fairly domesticated, but they're lovely music. It's folksy, poppy sort of stuff. There's one track on here that reminded me a hell of a lot of Sufjan Stevens. I had a listen to it tonight, and I was really impressed. So they're called Terrible Sons. The Raft Is Not the Shore. This came out last year. It's on blue vinyl, which I can't show you because obviously it's on the turntable, but from my hometown of Christchurch. So I think I'd heard of their name. I had a look on their Bandcamp. They've been around since at least 2016 and released about 4 or 5 sort of EPs on digital on their thing, but I think that is their very first physical release. A new label, or not such a new label, I don't know, it's an artist collective now. I've spoken about these before, like the Braille Collective, which I've shown a lot of their records, and I've got most of their records, or most of their early discography from way back in the 80s. And I think there was another collective I remember mentioning recently, but anyway, there's another collective sort of started up called, there's a place called the Pyramid Club up in Wellington, and they are a bunch of artists who've got together, and they've got a space for playing, and they've got a website, and they've started putting out some records under that label, and I've picked the first couple up, and this is one of them, Johnny Marks. Slow Resonance of Welcome. Now, Johnny Marks, I've got some other stuff from him. He was in All Seeing Hand, which were a brilliant Wellington band that seems to have ceased being. He is a throat singer and electronics, so this is kind of throat singing and drone and electronics. I've seen him at some of the alternative underground sound art festivals that we have around here at the Flying Out Lines of Flight, but particularly I saw him there, and I've seen him somewhere else too. Anyway, so this is cool. So these are lovely, I guess they're screen printed. You can feel the texture of the artwork on this, a screen printed cover, and this is a limited edition of 100 copies. This is hand numbered, and this is number 47, and that is pretty cool. So that is actually PCR, Pyramid Club Records number 2 or 002, and then the very first release, which I got them straight from the club themselves, is this one, is the Perms. So this is PRC001. This is limited edition of 100 as well. This is copy number 59 that I have. Again, you can feel the texture of the art, screen printed, I guess. Wow, these are unique little records. Now this one is they actually come with a little insert. If I can get it out. They're just on black vinyl. They actually come with this little card here. There's a download code on the back of it, which I'll add to my Bandcamp collection when I get around to it. Now this has got some music, some people on I actually know. Now Anita Clark I've spoken to about many times and shown many records that she's been involved in, and she plays violin, and she is she's from, well, I don't know if she's from Christchurch, but she lives here in Christchurch, and I've met her several times, and I've been to many gigs that she's played at. She's on the violin on this, and then Taipua Adams, he's on the bass, and I know Tai. He was also in a band from Wellington called Terror of the Deep, who they've just reissued one of their albums, which I haven't run around to picking up. So T's a mate that I catch up with when at gigs, and we chat and catch up, and I met him up in Wellington a few years back. He's on bass. So yeah, the Perms record is called Permanent Waves, and wow, this is stonking. So you've got T and the drums, Justin on the drums, they're providing the backing, and then the other two, which are guitar and violin, they're just kind of improvising over the top of it, pretty much. The guitar is a bit more understated. The Anita is the one that's really standing out on this, and she is on fire, man. This is an incredible record. I really enjoyed it. It is actually blowing me away, actually. So yeah, only 100 copies of that available, and I see a few people I know have snapped up their copies. So a few other records that kind of just drifting in over the last few weeks. Some from Flying Out. Joe Gatt, his new LP, this is his second release, Caper. Now, his first album was really good. I really enjoyed it. Really 60s psychedelic. This one's on the Green Marble. This one's not quite as immediate for me. It's not. There's some really cool tracks on it, and it's growing on me, but it's not as immediate. It's still very 60s. But yeah, it is different from the other one, which is cool. I mean, it's good that people are changing things up. So yeah, still got to played it a few times. I've still got to get to grips with it a little bit more, which is not easy when you've got so much other crap coming in all the time. Someone flashed this up on Facebook, and I'd forgotten that it was coming out, and it was only available. It was available originally on Bandcamp from the States, and it was fucking expensive, and the mail, the cost of getting it here was over the top. And then it turned up in the shops, but it was still really expensive, and it was like over $90. It is a double LP, but I managed to track down a copy for just over $80 locally. But yeah, it's terrible that we have to pay this for local music, but it's been released on an American label. It is Roy Montgomery's Temple 1V, that is 4. So yeah, this I believe was 1995, originally only on CD. It came out, it was his very first solo, I'm not sure, because I think he released 2 albums in 95. There was this South Island album, which also got a reissue, which is quite hard to get originals, well, and on vinyl it was. I'm not sure which order they came out, so this is either his first or his second LP. This is, so Roy Montgomery, underground legend in New Zealand music, the very first person his band was the very first band to release something on Flying Nun Records in 1981, which I've mentioned many times. He's such a unique voice. His guitaring and the way he phrases his music is very unique, and when you hear his music, you know that it's Roy. I don't know anyone else doing anything like this, but it's also pretty. It's not way out there. It's also, but it's very atmospheric, and it's very good, and it's pretty awesome, to be honest. I really like it, and that was most impressive. I also picked this up, which has been out for quite a while, and when I originally went to buy it the first time, they ran out of copies, and I couldn't get hold of a copy. But it's obviously either some more copies were found, or it's been reprinted. I don't know. It's on this nice deep red vinyl. So this is Tom Ludvigsen and Trevor Recce. Trevor Recce hasn't got much in the way of music out, but he's involved in big time in the New Zealand music scene. But I can't actually tell you all those details off the top of my head right this minute because I can't remember. But Tom, I've got another record which he did a collaboration with Gianmarco Liguori, which is really impressive, really impressive. Yeah, this kind of came out in... When did this come out? I don't know. Yeah, but these are older gentlemen, so this is pretty much improvised. Piano synthesizers by Tom, guitar, Ebo and effects by Trevor. Composed, performance, produced by Tom, recorded at Rocky Nook Studios. This is 2 or 3 years ago now. So when it first came out, I couldn't get hold of a copy, but I've got one now. So it's very atmospheric, drone, experimental, improvised music. Really, really cool. And so I did jump on finally jumped on this, the Mermaiden's new LP. This came out last year. 23, yeah, this came out last year. This is just the black vinyl version. There is a coloured vinyl version. Third LP, yeah, pretty cool. It's run of the mill Mermaidens, which is actually really which is good because they are fucking good. They are one of my favourite New Zealand bands, to be honest. So yeah, I'm still getting to grips with it, but their albums grow on you. You know, they start off, oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool, and then they just, they really grow. And the last 2 records that they put out in 2017 was their very first one around about, and then their next one was a couple or 3 years later, and now this one. They always grew on me to the point where they almost become album of the year. 2 new releases that I came in this week, pretty new releases. So, so new labels. Talking about new labels, there's another new label, and I was showing some of the records from them before, called Leather Jacket Records, and they've been doing some new stuff and some reissue stuff and some compilations of bands that really didn't release a hell of a lot back in the day, but they've put together some tracks, and I've shown those on some earlier videos, which I probably haven't posted yet. But two more records. So I've got most of the albums these guys that this label's put out, and they're out of Christchurch. I've met the guys that are doing the label, and one of them runs another little record shop in Christchurch, which is not a place I get to very often because it's not in a part of the city I go to as much. But anyway, they've just released the Wendy's LP. The Wendy's have been around for many years in Christchurch. I saw them play a live set in the record shop, Penny Lane, many years ago. If you look on their Bandcamp, they've got single, tracks and stuff out there since, 2016 or something. Anyway, but I saw them live last year at the Space Academy, and they were supporting the Cavemen. The Cavemen are really good. I've got most of their records, or all of their records. They're real garage punk sort of stuff. But these guys were supporting them, and I'd seen the Cavemen before. They played the year before at the same venue, and they were really, really good. And then they played this, was it late last year? And these guys supporting, and I thought these guys played better on the night, and I was really, really impressed with some of the guitar licks. I don't know how much they played last year is on this LP, because it was actually recorded back in 2021, between June 2021 and December 22. So that's quite a long time before I saw them play live, but I'm sure that some of the tracks on here they played live. This is kind of surfy punk stuff, pretty cool. Really good. It's not as good as I've seen them live, to be honest. I've only played it once so far. Only just arrived. Was it yesterday? And also the other one on Leather Jacket Records is this one here. Hannah Everingham. Stempri de Flores. I don't know. There's a couple of tracks on here she sings in a different language, Spanish maybe. Yeah, so this is a lovely record, and my wife was suitably impressed with it actually. Okay, quite mellow, folksy, poppy, world sort of thing. There's a couple of tracks, like I say, that are sung in a foreign language. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it looks Spanish to me. Actually, there's about 3 tracks sung in Spanish. yeah, so there's a real strong world feel, world music feeling, tropicalia almost in places, but very mellow. Yeah, really nice little album. And she's based in Christchurch too. Being a Christchurch label, although they have released some other out of town bands. Right, motoring through them. So today, along with this LP, came another 4 LPs that I got out of Vinyl Countdown up in New Plymouth, and I picked them up really cheap. So they were all on sale, and they're all brand new sealed. And so I snagged this one. I mean, this is a double LP, and I think I picked it up for $40, which is actually really good. I mean, this sort of stuff usually brand new when it comes out, it'll sell in the shop for $80 brand new, but that's imported stuff, like, not local releases. So yeah, double gatefold. So I'm slowly coming around to Lucinda, and I picked up her 2020 LP, which I can't remember the name of, but that was that double LP she did. That was really, really raw bluesy one. This one here is quite mellow in places, but then comes out some, but I mean, I'm sure many of you know this. She's a pretty popular lady, isn't she? I must grab car wheels on a gravel road somewhere. But yeah, I had listened to this tonight, just arrived today. Very, very nice. So pleased to get that. Yeah, pleased to get that. So I really am starting to get into her a lot more than I used to. It took me quite a few years to really decide that I was going to try and get into her music. I'd sort of heard tracks from her on like uncut CDs. Anyway, so also on sale, I picked up a copy of this. I'm really pleased and rapt to have this. I had a copy of this when I was a youngster back in the 80s, an original New Zealand pressing. This is a 2023 reissue on the same Ace Records that put it out originally, I guess. Just wall-to-wall brilliant singles or whatever, and tracks from wherever they come back from, in the first sort of 4 years of their life. This is just amazing compilation. I'm absolutely so stoked to have that, because I'd never actually got around to replacing my vinyl copy on CD. Although I do have another compilation of Damned, which is a lot more. There's a lot more on it. But this compilation, it just got a real soft spot, because and you play these things again and again, you get so used to the songs being in that order and crap like that. So really pleased to have that. And finally, I picked up this today. I arrived today with this, again from the same place. This is the Zappa Records release number 27. Came out on the 40th anniversary of this particular album, which was in 2019. Analog remastered by Bernie Grundman at Bernie Grundman Mastering. Sourced on the original 76 analog masters. These Zappa family Zappa record reissues, and I've been picking up them when I can. They're coming out in dribs and drabs in New Zealand. They're just kind of luck of the draw what turns up, but they quite often turn up on sale, because I don't know if they're not selling or what it is, but I don't know why, because they sound absolutely fantastic. I mean, I love Zappa. This is probably about half a dozen of these I've picked up now, which a lot, it's really a small amount. But I'm going to keep snapping them up, to be honest, because I do like them. This one here, Orchestral Favourites, was an interesting release. Zappa just basically handed the tapes to Warner Music and that just to fulfill his bloody thing, and then they released it without asking him and telling him what they were doing, blah blah blah. Apparently this has been remastered to much better quality than the original, because Zappa had no control over that, and apparently some part of the tape, or not part of the tape, but something they use on the tape to make it sound better was missing, blah blah, I don't know. It sounds stunning. And I just love his orchestral stuff. I mean, it is, really cool. Zappa wasn't 100% happy with the recordings, apparently, because, he was a really fussy bugger in that, but it sounds fantastic to me. And then the last one that arrived today, another Zappa one, and one of my favourites of this period of Zappa, actually. He'd done a few Mothers records at this stage, hadn't he? Because they sort of reformed the Mothers This is just brilliant. And again, the sound is just stunning. Again, it's remastered by Bernie. This one is release number 15, although it didn't come out until 2022. It was sourced from the quarter-inch analog EQ copy master tape. Official release number 15. Zappa.com. I mean, I just love this record. It is brilliant. And the Big Swifty is just astonishing piece of music. 17.5 minutes of just, awesomeness. Hey, so that was it. That's it. All I've got today. So I've still got quite a few records coming in the mail, which will be tuning up over the next couple of days. So I'll probably be able to make another video soon. So yeah, I will leave you there today, and hope you're all well, and hope the vinyl gods are looking after you. All right, mates. Catch you later.